Hello and welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep IAS. Welcome to another session of Indian Economy Essentials. And in today's session, let's have a discussion regarding the importance of Vostro account. Now some of you will ask me, sir, what is the importance of Vostro account in the current affairs? Or let's say for the civil services examination. Have a look at the article that has appeared in different newspapers, but I'll focus on one newspaper, the Hindu Business Line. And in the Hindu Business Line, there was one article which stated that 20 Russian banks have opened Rupee Vostro accounts for trading with India. Now, some of you will be confused as to what is this idea of a Vostro account. Now, many of you will simply tell me, sir, I've heard of Vostro, I've also heard of Nostro. But I'm confused between both Vostro as well as Nostro. What is the importance of it? Let's try and understand this. Let's start with the basic idea here. Imagine there are two countries, A and B. Now, both of these countries are conducting trade. But please understand this. Most of the trade that happens in the international market today, it happens in the form of dollars. That is, the payment is done in the form of dollars and the payment is received in the form of dollars. In simple terms, the exports and imports are generally invoiced in terms of dollars. Now, some of you will ask, sir, how much is it? As per economic survey recently published, it says that around 88% of the total transactions in the forex market for trading purpose in the international market is in terms of dollars, which means the dollar, that is the universal currency, is mostly used in conducting transactions. That is point number one. Now, second point, imagine the Western economies, that is, let's say G7 group of countries, will impose a sanction on country A. And when they impose a sanction on country A, the banks in country A or the exporters, importers, etc., they will not be able to convert their domestic currency into dollar. That is, I'll place the country here, Russia. The domestic currency of Russia, they will not be able to convert into dollars. That will be cut off. And the reverse conversion, that is, if they have received the payment in terms of dollars, the payment will also not be allowed to be translated or let's say converted into the domestic currency of Russia. Now, that will basically disrupt the trade that is happening between both the countries A and B. That is, between Russia as well as India. Now, what is the way out then? We want to conduct trade with Russia. For example, Russia has become one of the largest exporter of crude oil, fertilizers, etc. to India. And looking at our requirements, we have continued to trade with Russia. We want to continue to trade with Russia. But the accessibility to dollars is cut off for Russia. So how will you continue to trade with Russia in that context? That is where the concept of Vostro and Nostro accounts will come into picture. Vostro simply means ours, right? It's a Latin word. Vostro simply means ours and Nostro means yours. Now, what do you mean by ours and yours here? Let me explain it. Let me draw a picture here. Please understand this. Imagine this side is India and this side is Russia. Now, there is a company in India, let's say A, wants to export to Russia and receive payment. Simple. They want to receive payment. And here is another company, B in Russia. They want to export to India and receive the payment. But unlike earlier, dollar is not an intervening currency here, not an intermediate currency. Now, they will not be able to conduct payment or receivables in terms of dollars. So what is the way forward here? Follow this. There are, let's say, two banks, one bank in Russia and one bank in India. I'll simply call this as Bank 1 and Bank 2. In the Bank 1, they will open one account in the name of or for the Bank 2. I hope you understand this. In the Bank 1, which is an Indian bank, they will open one account for B2, which is a Russian bank, that is a counterparty bank. Now this account which is opened in B1, we will call this as Vostro account. Is it okay? I'll repeat it. Do not be confused here. It's slightly technical, slightly confusing. Don't make that mistake. Let's understand it in a basic form. We want to make a payment. Let's say we want to make a payment, but how do we make a payment? We cannot convert this rupee to dollar, pay it to Russia, and even if I want to convert into dollar and I pay them, they will not be allowed to convert that dollar into their domestic currency. So in that case, what we will do? In Bank B1, which is there in India, we will open an account in the name of Bank B2. We will call this as Vostro account. So we will call this as Vostro account, ours. Whereas the Russian counterparts, that is the Russian bank, will call this account as Nostro account. Is it okay? The Russian counterpart bank will simply refer to this account as Nostro account. This is one point. Next, in the Bank 2, they will open one account in the name of Bank 1. Now the Russian bank will call that account as Vostro bank, but we will call that account as Nostro account. Now some of you will simply say, sir, what is the use of it? Such a circus they are doing. What is the use of it? Simple. Imagine I've imported something. I want to pay money. That is whatever is rupee versus Russian ruble, whatever is the exchange rate. I want to make a payment. Rather than converting into, let's say, dollars, I'll simply make the payment in terms of rupees into the Bank B1 here. That is into the Vostro account of Bank B1. Now, if on the other hand, if some of the Russians or companies in Russia, if they conducted trade with us, that is Indian companies, they have to pay certain amount. They will contribute or they will simply pay it into the Vostro account of Bank B1, which has been created in Bank B2 in Russia. So in simple terms, the need to convert from rupee to dollar, dollar to, let's say, ruble, that need will be cut off here. And thereby the transactions will be conducted. Now some of you will simply say, sir, done. I've imported, I was supposed to make a payment to Russian company. I have contributed, or let's say I've made the payment into the Vostro account of B2, which is created in the first bank, that is Bank B1. But what about the other side of the transaction? That is, let's say I have basically exported something to Russia. I'm supposed to receive the money. In that case, what will happen? The payment to Indian exporters will be done from these rupees or that amount of money that is there in the Vostro account of Russian bank within India. That is how the payment will be done, and the transfers, or let's say the amount of money that is supposed to be paid for imports will be done, and supposed to be received for exports will be received from the Vostro account that is created in India. And the same thing will also take place in Russia. This is how the transactions will be conducted without having the need to convert rupee to dollar, dollar to ruble like this. This is the basic idea of the Vostro and Nostro account. Now, what is the advantage of having it? Right? What is the use of having it? One, the need for having dollars will be eliminated. Again, please understand, we are conducting rupee trade with very few countries like this, such as Iran, such as Russia. So imagine if all of our trade is conducted in terms of rupees, don't you think there will be no need for us to maintain dollars? That's the first very important point. Second, right now, very small percentage of the total trade in terms of forex market is conducted in terms of rupees. That is, as per economic survey, around 1.6% of forex transactions are conducted in terms of rupees. But if it increases, thanks to this kind of a rupee trade mechanism which has been put in place by Reserve Bank of India, if it increases and reaches more than 4%, then we'll simply call rupee as an international currency. Because under the concept of internationalization of currency, whenever more than 4% of the trade transactions are conducted using one particular currency, that is a domestic currency of one country, we'll call that currency as an international currency. So one, it will lead to internationalization of currency, that is rupee. Second, requirement to hold dollars will come down. Third, let's say Fed tapering happens again, and as a result of that, dollar outflow will happen from India. Now, don't you think, unlike earlier situation, even if the dollars go out of India, the impact on the rupee will not be very, very high. Right? That is, the volatility in the market can be controlled here. The impact of the volatility will not be very, very high on the Indian rupee. So, these are some of the very important advantages that are associated with promotion of a rupee trade mechanism using Vostro as well as Nostro accounts like this. So, this is the summation of, or let's say the very important concepts which are associated with this article that has appeared in multiple newspapers. If you like the initiative, please hit the like button, provide your valuable comments in the section below, and if you had to subscribe to BYJU'S Exam Prep IAS, kindly do it now. Thank you. Have a great day.